We're talking today about the 5 miraculous tools to catapult your career and live your passion. And I've got the perfect guest on today. This is Dawn. It's for those of you who don't know her yet. Well, first of all, I'm Ella, Ella Majors. If you don't know me, I am the founder of Sexy Fit Vegan and the creator of the Plant Empowered Coaching Program, and the person who runs this group, the Empowered Vegan Life Group. Stephanie's on. Hey, Cheeseball. We call each other Cheeseball with a Z. Stephanie's our head mindset coach within the program and one of my dearest friends now, as is Dawn. So if you guys don't know Dawn yet, she is a Plant Empowered program grad. She has turned coach, and she's also a longtime friend of mine and a realtor as your full-time job. So Dawn, can you just start briefly telling us, I mean, you've been a realtor for quite a while now. That's your kind of full-time gig, right? But so what made you decide, tell us just a little bit about what made you decide to also hop on board and put more on your plate, you know, already having a full-time job, but putting more on your plate to also become a part of our team.
Well, the program, I know everything I've learned from you we've been great friends for a long time too. So I've been learning along the way, and well, as you already know, I'm a crazy animal lover. And being vegan is a passion of mine too. So this becoming a coach in this program was like just a win, 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 win. I mean, it was my way of being able to share all the great things that being able to share how good I feel now from going through the program, and in turn helping others feel good, helping this program grow, and knowing that at the end of the day, this is also saving animals. So I love it.
Yes, and that's my base reason for being vegan in the first place too. So everything else is just, it all just fits so well together. You can have it all. People say you can't have it all. You can have it all. Just go vegan.
Yes, right. Exactly.
It's that simple. Yes, so awesome. Jennifer's on. Hi, Jennifer. Long time. Yes, Jennifer's been through the program as well. We miss you too terribly. And she's happy that she has time to watch today. Oh, it's so amazing having people from the program who have either been through it or are going through it come on these live events as well. They're like family, to us. So it feels like I have my family here with me, which is just so wonderful. So let's get into it now that you, by the way, you guys, what I was just going to say is that for the breakthrough sessions that we do, Dawn gets to have an experience with people in a different way than I do. And I think they're both very valuable because Dawn brings to the call her own experience going through the program, which is such a powerful place to be, having had the experience that you're helping people kind of figure out if it's the experience they want to have as well. And so that's equally as powerful to me. It's being able to say, this program rocks, but of course I'm going to say that, right? So, but it does rock. But when Dawn does it, she can really talk about it from both being a coach, but first being a client. So it's pretty awesome stuff. Okay, so let's get into these tools. First, I'm going to share a little bit about my story that in relation to the tools that are going to help you skyrocket your career and live your passion. And I'm going to let Dawn share hers, and then we'll literally list the 5 tools that you guys can take away from this event. So for me, I spent over a decade, well over a decade, basically in a constant state of stress and anxiety. There was just this underlying feeling of, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I know my mission in life. I knew my mission when I was a little kid was to save animals, and doing that through helping people be empowered enough to go vegan. And so I knew that was it. But, in 2002, when I got out of school and started working, I didn't know how to monetize. I didn't know how to turn that into a career. So my other passion is fitness. I love moving my body. I love sports and challenging my body. So I got into personal training, and I did that for a very, very long time. But the whole time I wasn't really in it completely. I was very stressed about knowing I wasn't doing exactly what I was meant to be doing. And that's the journey. I mean, I now have a very different perspective on the whole thing. But at the time, kind of just where I was, it was very frustrating. And I didn't know how I could turn it into a career. And I think despite feeling hopeless at times, because I knew my purpose, I kept going. And I had to put in some amount of trust that I was going to figure it out, that the universe was going to help me. And I know the universe whole thing sounds a little woo-woo to a lot of people, but man, I mean, the law of attraction is no joke. And whether that be for some people, God, or whatever you want to call it, I like to call it the universe because I believe in a collective energy. And so we talk about putting out the energy that we want to get back. So I kept going, and the universe brought me finally, it was almost 4 years ago. I started my Sexy Fit Vegan business about over 5 years ago. And then about 3.5, 4 years ago, the universe delivered me my first coach. And she was a business coach. And she found me on Google from all the work I was doing, you know, trying to get to the first page of Google because nobody looks past the second. There's all sorts of jokes about nobody goes to the second page of Google, but wow, is it hard to get on the first page. She was looking up vegan trainers in Miami, and she found me, and I started training her. And she said, Ella, have you ever thought about doing a program? This is what I do. I help people do programs. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I can do a program. I would love to do a program. And that's how it all started. And I put my trust in her. I was not in a good financial position at all at the time. I mean, I was actually in terrible credit card debt at that time, having kind of started a business without knowing how to monetize the business. And I took the leap anyway, because I just knew it was the right decision. And it was scary, you guys. It was so scary to put another many thousands of dollars on a credit card that was pretty much maxed out anyway. But I just knew, and I trusted. And it changed my life forever. So fast forward now, and I've got this incredible business, an incredible program. We're helping people right and left, not only to really make the transition to a vegan lifestyle, but a healthy vegan lifestyle, a lifestyle that also allows you to have the tools to invite abundance into our lives, and freedom. Freedom is a huge word for the people that we work with. It ends up being that the food is the easy part. We absolutely help people with food, but the food's the easy part. The mindset part, and inviting what you want in your life back to you by putting out the right energy, that's the huge piece. So I will, I'll stop there because we'll talk about the tools in a moment. I'm gonna let Dawn come on. We've got Alyssa. She is a game changer. We just launched, you guys, our follow-up, our next level program to the Plant Empowered Coaching Program, and she is our first game changer. So I'm so happy she's here, and we've got Janet here as well. So great to have you. All right, Dawn, you're up. Can you just kind of tell us about, that was my little intro. What's yours?
Well, I guess, well, you know, so I kind of started over, so to speak, as far as life and career, about 8 years ago, when I moved to Miami Beach from Washington, D.C., and decided to go back into real estate. I had done it a long time in the past, but didn't last very long where I was because I didn't love it. And so when I got here, I decided to try it again and love it, but kind of took a slow approach to it anyway. And I'll probably get to that, but I feel like now things are really clicking. I've been here long enough. I know enough people and all of that. But you know, like the program, really, I didn't realize what I was doing with other parts of my life, namely like with the food and exercise and all those things, that was, I think, kind of holding me back. So, and we'll get into that more, but anyway, so yeah, my full-time job and career is I'm a real estate agent, and I love it. I love helping people find their new home, and I also love helping people find their new investment. So it's fun, especially here, because I work with a lot of people that move here to get warm. So it's really
happy time.
yeah. And as I'm looking at a view right now, it's like, that's what I do during the day, is I show people this beautiful view and these beautiful places that they can live or prosper in, you know, if it's an investment or something. So yeah, so that's my story, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's we'll get into more as we go through the. Yeah, so for you guys who don't know, like, I'm looking out onto Biscayne Bay. She's looking out into Biscayne Bay from her place. And we just were talking before we came on about how much we wish we could do these from our balconies. But the lighting just, we're black blobs if we go out there. But it is sad because it's beautiful. It is just beautiful here. And the thing is, you know, I feel a little bad saying that when everybody else is pretty much in that country. Freezing still, right? I mean, it's still freezing in most places.
It is.
But at the same time, you guys, no matter where you are, like, there are no limits. There are no limits to where you could go or what you can do, even in a cold place. Like, none of that matters, you know, because you have the power, and that's what it's all about, is creating power for you. So let's talk about these tools that will empower you and help you move forward in the direction of really your dreams. I mean, literally, I'm living my dream now. And I can honestly say that I'm just, I can't wait. I was just telling Dawn, you know, I just can't wait for the next part of my life. Like, every new chapter is, now that I have these tools, you know, every new chapter is an adventure. And it's like playing life like a game, and there will be ups and downs. But the first thing, tool number one, is to identify where your energy is being spent on a day-to-day basis. And I think this is a great one. I mean, I could talk about it too, but Dawn, since you're here, this is one you came up with right away. Like, I think it was your very first one when I asked you. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and this is a good one too, with the fact that, you know, when I do the breakthrough calls, I hear this a lot. And it's like I'm hearing myself talk from a long time ago, it feels like now. But anyway, I didn't really realize it, how much energy I was spending thinking about my food intake and my calories and all that. Just, I never did the macro thing. I didn't even really know how to do that, but I counted calories like incessantly, and had the app on my phone, and I revolved around it. And then I exercised to burn calories, and it was taking up my life, and I didn't even know it. And when I went through the program, within like maybe not even 2 months, all of that went away. So, you know, it's a 6-month program, but literally in 2 months, I was like, all that was gone. And I didn't realize first of all, I felt amazing. But secondly, I was just becoming so much more productive with work and everything and just life. And I was like, wow, that's huge. Like, especially my work productivity just skyrocketed because I had all of that off my plate. So huge, huge change.
Awesome. When we talk about busyness in the very first part of the program, we really addressed things that could hold people back from getting the most out of the program. And saying you're busy is one of them, but it's all about what you're busy doing. Everybody's busy. We can be busy chilling on the couch, right? What are we spending our energy on? If it's counting calories, if it's worrying, just taking up headspace about, you know, what other people think, or, you know, what I look like in these pants, or what am I going to wear, or how am I going to go out to meet my friends? I'm embarrassed about this or that, or how can I go out to eat and stick to my diet? You know, all these just concerns and worry and anxiety and stress that we're creating in our own heads. That takes up time, that takes up energy, that takes up space, that makes us busy. And when we can release that and open up that space to the things that really matter in our life, that are going to help us move forward, like, amazing things come. We've also got Amy here. She was from way back in the day. So good to see you, Amy. She's listening hands-free in the car. And Britta's as well. She's been joining us every week. That's fantastic. So yeah, weight loss. You mentioned over-exercising or exercising to burn calories. So and I used to do that too. How many calories can I burn so that I can go out to eat or make up for the day before so that I can lose weight or keep the weight off, or, whatever it is. It's not fun. And it doesn't bring our vibrations up. It doesn't give us the energy. And we know when we have emotional stress, it manifests physically as well, both in terms of energy levels, also, raising cortisol that really allows you to accumulate more fat cells in your midsection. So it can literally create a larger midsection, physically speaking, but just also our energy. So think about, you guys, what you're spending on your energy on, your time, because if you've been doing it for long enough, you don't even realize that you're doing it because it's just your way of life, right? So we have to stop. We have to take a step back and say, okay, let me actually think about this, because this isn't a given. This is just how I'm programmed so far. But I get to reprogram. I get to write my own story moving forward. Christian's on. Hi, Christian. Okay, next one. So your productivity skyrocketed, feelings of freedom you mentioned, more enjoyment of food, of life in general, all sorts of great things. But that will absolutely help skyrocket a career when your productivity goes up. Number 2, identifying and acknowledging the emotions that you carry from past failures. And I put those in quotes because in the program we talk about there is no failure, there's only feedback. There is no failure, only feedback. Without feedback, we cannot improve, right? We can't learn from past experiences. So we have to first look into what am I carrying from my past experiences that are keeping me stuck now, right? Even though they're in the past. Dawn, you had mentioned some fear and shame. Can you talk a little bit more about that for you?
Well, I guess in, thinking back, I guess in previous careers too, for instance, I had a business partner in a previous career that, well, she stole some money, and it was really, really hard to get over in lots of ways. And it caused fear and just taking risks and things like that. But it also, of course, I'd had some resentment built up too, that I had to let go of. And once I did, that was very freeing. And, but yeah, I think that, when you have, like you said, times that you feel like it's a failure, it makes you scared to take another risk and change. I changed careers and moved at the same time pretty much. So it was scary. But I think if you can see past it, you take that next step, then you can get through it.
Absolutely. And when we attribute what we think of as failures to ourselves not being good enough and that we're not capable, that does go back to feelings of shame. And that I'm not good enough is the root of shame. And until we address that, and until we're able to really step into our power and say, I am good enough, what I'm doing is good enough, and accept and love and respect ourselves exactly how we are, we're not going to be able to move forward. And so we absolutely work on that throughout the entire 6 months, because that's not something that just changes automatically. What we do is we give people the tools, and then we help them put it to use and practice. It's a practice. But when you can confront your fears, when you can identify them and say, you know what, I'm not going to let fears rule my life. I'm not going to let fear decide what I'm capable of, and we have to do that with intention. And that's scary. That's hard. So what the program's for. Britta said, this is so true. She's back to the macros. I remember so well before going vegan that I used to worry a lot about calories. I used to have a food diary that I kept, and I had so many unnecessary things to do. Now my weight loss just flows. I already had 29 kilograms since then, or lost 29 kilograms since then without counting calories since April 14th. Wow, you have the date and everything. Britta, April 14th, 2017. Wow, congratulations, Britta. That is huge. So I mean, I can tell by by how you wrote that, the freedom that has brought you. I can imagine. Amazing, amazing. All right, let's move it on. 3, practicing affirmations daily and trusting the universe to present you with the opportunities that you need at the time you need them. And this was very interesting. Actually, Christian and I were talking about this last week, was that, you know, when he came into my life last September, I was finally ready. I had been a single for over 3 years, focused on my business, knowing that I needed to focus on me and growing and really finding myself and my way. And before that, it was horrible relationships for the first, until last September, basically. But you know what, if the universe had delivered him to me before this, I wouldn't have even known it was such an opportunity to have my first healthy, loving, incredible relationship that I've ever had, right? Because I wasn't there yet. I wasn't treating myself like I wanted to be treated. So I wouldn't have even recognized it. So all those times where like, I'm never going to find the right person, you know, I was focused on that. And it was when I let all of that go and focused on me that everything opened up. What about for you? What kind of affirmations are you practicing these days, Dawn?
Well, definitely, like you said, what you were just saying about, you know, you say things like, words are powerful, as we know, and it is a practice, a constant practice, because we all have those not so great days and things happen. But I just keep reminding myself of how much I have to be grateful for. And I just keep saying things that make me believe that all good things are coming. And sometimes you gotta have some patience, but things turn around, but you have to keep saying those things, and you have to say them in a positive way. Because if you sit there and say, like you were saying, like, oh, I'm never going to find anyone, or, you know, this isn't going to get better, or, you know, things like that. Well, that's unfortunately then what keeps happening. I'm a big believer in the law of the universe too. So, and everything you read and see out there like that, it's like, you have to stay positive. And yeah, it's not easy sometimes when things are going wrong. But as I mentioned to you this morning, my mom used to say this to me all the time as a kid, and I didn't really quite get it or appreciate it at the time, but I do now, is, you know, when one door closes, another one opens. And sometimes you're like, well, where is that door? But it's there. You just have to be patient sometimes. So yeah, but it is an absolute practice every day. Just like the program, I mean, everything in it, it's like, you really do have to, it's a way of life. And it changes your life. So it's worth doing. The practice actually becomes kind of fun.
Yes. And I think abundance is a big one for a lot of people. And since we're talking about career, you know, the fears of moving away from maybe a job that's safe, but that you don't like, that doesn't bring you any sort of satisfaction or fulfillment, knowing that sometimes that's what needs to happen for a temporary period of time. But what happens often is we get used to being comfortable in a zone that's comfortable and that it's safe. But the only way to grow and to start living the life that you really want to live is to challenge that, is to get out of your comfort zone. And without, you know, believing that by putting that energy out, you're going to get it back, then that's too scary, right? But I've seen it over and over and over again. Jamie is one of my favorite success stories in the program, having come in completely jobless, living with her mom, she was a single mom. And in 2 months, I think it was about 2 months, that she landed her dream job. And she came in powerfully. She went all in. She said, Ella, I'm in. Like, I'm doing this and I'm believing it. And she came in, and 2 months later, and now since then she's got professorial jobs. She's gone, and now she's working with us as well. So we just keep growing our team from the people that come in and do the work, because it takes work. And being able to come in also to the program also means pushing past fears. You know, oh my God, I'm gonna invest in myself. I'm going to invest money in myself that, you know, I've been there. If I would not tell people, like, Oh yes, believe in a coach. If I didn't have gone through the same thing, I went through the same thing 3 years ago with my first program that I did, coaching program. And I know how scary it is, but I know how it turned out. And I know how it turns out for all the people that take that jump, that take that leap to join the program. And it's exciting. It's just exciting. Okay, I've been running over lately on these things. Number 4 is curing yourself of people-pleasing syndrome. This was a huge one for me. And the results of that are being able to make decisions that serve you best. Because when we are hung up on what everyone else is thinking and making everyone else happy and putting everybody else first and worrying about what other people are gonna think about what we do, we are putting ourselves last when we do that. How has that, and I'm a big time recovering people pleaser. And it's not easy, it's still not easy. But now I'm able to say no when saying no needs to happen. I'm able to put my oxygen mask on first before putting the oxygen mask on the people around me. And that's, a metaphor we hear all the time, but it's just so accurate. How has that come up for you in your life, Dawn?
I was the same way. And as far as being a people pleaser and having a hard time saying no, and now it's freeing because, again, like you said, you have to put yourself first and your health first, number one. Like, I mean, I work a lot of hours some weeks. So, if I'm tired and I need a rest, like I might have to say no to something. And that just means, maybe the next day I'll do something with that person or those people instead. And that's fine, but I know some people say, would feel guilt about that. And I really don't anymore because I know that I have to take care of me first and that I'm not going to be any good to anyone if I don't do that first. So it's, and I have some big goals this year and that's going to require me to work a little more, but I'm excited about it. So if it also means that I'm going to have to skip some things here and there, so be it, because I have the bigger picture in mind. So that's how that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because just recently, we don't have to go into details, but a door opened up for you in your life and you were in a place where you were able to do your due diligence and say, you know what, this is a leap I want to take because you could see the outcome, but you had to take a leap. You had to really get to a place where you said, I'm worth it and I can do it. And that's gonna, this is an opportunity that is gonna take you big places, from what I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that came along with also keeping an open mind, which is another thing that, came from the program. It's like, opportunities are everywhere. And if you're become mindful and also take out all those things that were keeping me too busy, all of a sudden you see things land in front of you that you might not have seen before. And it's amazing. So much opportunity out there.
1000%. That kind of brings us to our last one. Well, we got Haley on. Haley, she's a recent graduate as well. Wow, we got everybody. I love it. So that kind of brings us to the last one, which is I think it might be the favorite tool of a lot. There's a lot of people in the program that would name this as their favorite tool, and that's the power of the pause. And I feel like that does, it kind of goes to all the other 4 tools, because without being able to, in the moment where you might otherwise react in a way that's just simply because you're programmed that way, because you've been reacting that way to those types of situations your whole life, and that's where you naturally go. At that moment, that's the hardest moment, to be able to identify that and take a step back and observe and say, you know what do I need at this moment? What is going to serve me best? Forget, everything I thought before, the limitations, the fears, everything that would have made me take this action. Let me reevaluate right now. And so that I can take the action that's going to serve me best. How do you use the power of the pause in like your everyday life, Dawn?
Well, I mean, that's been huge. You know, obviously it's on a personal level, it's amazing because, you know, we all run into things, just even like, I don't know, going to a yoga class, for instance, and somebody cuts you off, or I don't know, things happen, you know, and if you just stop and let it go, it just, you don't need to dwell on things like that, whatever. But I professionally, the power of the pause, I think has been extra huge for me lately because, you know, as a lot of us are, we're in the people business, and, you know, emotions can run high, especially with what I do. People get very emotional about where they want to live in their house and all those things. And it's been a very big tool for me to be able to use when someone is extremely emotional. And I just have to stop, let them go, let them, you know, air it out. And then, you know, really keep in mind how they're feeling, and not react, where sometimes you know, in the past, I think I would get really upset. And now it's like, I really don't. I kind of have this peace about me about it. It's like, you know, maybe I'm getting used to it too, but no, it's the pause and kind of put yourself in that person's shoes sometimes too. Maybe also, you don't know what that person's going through. Like, you know, they might have had something really awful is happening with them. So they're letting it out in other ways. And if you can just stop and understand, and it just makes the situation better. The outcome, you know, it becomes a better outcome if you stop and just pause before reacting.
Yes. When you have the other tools to go along with it, which is an important part. And that's why the program, oh, sorry, we got Alyssa saying, yes, the pause. I knew you love the pause, Alyssa. And Mia's on. Hi, Mia. Yeah, so you need all these tools fit together. And that's why they're kind of like Band-Aids if you do one here and there. So what we do on these Facebook Lives, we try to give you guys as much valuable information about how to make these shifts so that you can put them to use in your everyday life. However, if those little pieces are not fitting together, that's where the program comes in, because we've got it all laid out over 6 months in a strategic way where you're learning, you're applying, you're practicing, and you're sharing. And we do massive amounts of sharing in the group. So when somebody, you know, this tool didn't work for me and I'm upset, and what can I mean, there is people jumping in. Oh my God, I was in a similar situation. Here's what I did. I'm jumping in, you're jumping in, Stephanie's jumping in. Everybody's jumping in to help you kind of reevaluate that situation, because you learn from every situation, whether you were successfully able to put those tools to use or not. And we share both. We share the successes when we share the challenges, and we help each other be able to figure that out, so that the next time you're reporting a celebration because you had a similar situation, and this time you put what you learned to use and everything changed. And when you do that over and over and over again with the support and the coaching to go along with it, and the structured process and trainings, that's the power right there. And that's why it's an empowerment program, because at the end of that 6 months, you are empowered with these tools. And once you have them, and it takes 6 months to really embody them and feel confident about moving forward with them. Not that you're mastering them, not that your life is unicorns and rainbows. It's that you have those tools and you say, whatever comes my way, I'm ready for it. I'm going to be able to handle it, and I'm going to take it, and I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to move forward in my life and get what I want. I'm going to get the career I want. I'm going to get the financial situation I want. I'm going to get the freedom I want. I'm going to love food. I'm going to enjoy my body. I'm going to, you know, have a family that that is healthy, and that you're healthy for the rest of your life. So that's what it's all about. Those are our 5. Identifying where your energy is being spent. Identifying the emotions you carry from your past about failures, practicing affirmations daily, trusting in the universe to open doors when they need to be opened, curing yourself of the people-pleasing syndrome, and the power of the pause. I know it's a lot, but we could have listed 10. So we cut it down to 5, right? So we are going to wrap it up. Thank you guys all for joining us. I'm so glad all of you were here with us. It means so much. And for everyone watching the replay later, thank you so much, Dawn, for taking your time out of your day. I have so much gratitude for you and the work you do and our friendship and everything that you're doing for our clients as well.
My pleasure. I love it. Love it.
And you guys, if you are interested in learning more about the program, we've got a system to help you do that. So I will put some links up on this post, and the first step is really scheduling a call with us and a breakthrough session where we really explore what's going on with you, what your struggles are, where you're stuck, get to the root so that we know how to help you. And if that game plan that we put together has to do with our program, if that's the right fit, we will tell you all about that. If it's not the right fit, we're going to do our best to point you in a different direction that might be more helpful. It's really that simple. So you have nothing to lose. It's completely free. And that's going to do it. Don't wait. Like, life passes us by way too fast. Let's do this, you guys. Britta, thank you too. Mia, Alyssa, Haley, everybody. All right, you guys, see you back in the group.
Bye.
Bye.